For this video, let's try to determine the half turn or the image of rotation at 180 degrees of point X being identified as 5 and 0 along the lines A identified with this equation and B. These two lines are actually in the form of L is equal to the point P plus your vector V. Okay, so your alpha here, for your line alpha is your 0, 0 plus your direction vector of 0, 1. And for your beta, you still on 0, 0 plus your direction vector 1 and 0. So what we need to do here is to locate P, because the formula for the half turn as indicated in any of those two lines for X is identified as minus X plus 2P. P is the point of intersection of the lines. By the way, 5, 0 is actually located here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is our point X at 5 and 0. What do you think is the graph of this line? Take note that it passes to the origin. At the same time, its vector is 0, 1. This is an example of a line that is actually a vertical one. Take note that if we have a vector like this, this tells us a vertical line. And since that vertical line passes through the center, this corresponds to our y-axis. Similarly, the second line, the beta, passes through the origin 0, 0, and the vector is expressed in this manner. This is also the vector for a horizontal line, hence this is your x-axis. For this illustration, our point P is still the origin, but take note that half turn doesn't necessarily choose the origin, because it's also be true for any point P as long as it's the intersection of both lines. Now, take note of this. Our P is the common point of 2, which is again identified as your origin. So with this, we can identify here the half turn and also verify that our given graph or our graph later on. So this is actually negative X plus twice P. You have negative of your X, which is 5, 0, plus twice your P, which is 0 and 0. This gives us negative 5 and 0 plus 0 and 0 by scalar multiple. It's still 0, which gives us negative 5 and 0. So the half turn of this given point, okay, is actually at negative 5, 0, which can be seen here. This is the half turn at negative 5 and 0. As you know, it's actually forming 180 degrees from the given point. And with this illustrates the half turn. But then again, not all points or P or the point of intersection of lines are at the origin, and not all lines are forming vertical and horizontal lines. Just for the illustration of this example, we can see that our lines are still on the axis themselves, and we can see that our point of intersection is still at the origin. So basically, we have identified already our point P and X immediately. So it's easier for us to look at that. Again, this is our alpha here, and this is our beta line, which corresponds to the axes themselves. Another example will be given later on, where our point P is no longer at the origin, nor our lines be vertical or horizontal respectively. Please stay tuned for that. Thank you very much for watching.